One of the first TikToks I made that went viral on this platform, and is probably responsible for more than half of the people finding me, is the TikTok that I have pinned at the top of my page, where I talk about the cosplay of empathy and how white folks specifically cosplay empathy. But I also talked about how religious people cosplay empathy, and I spoke from a personal place because I was once a very religious person. And when something bad would happen in the lives of people, I would show up with all of my empathetic language. I would show up with all of the, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened. Oh my God, what can I do to help? Blah, blah. I would do all the things. But in the backdrop of doing all those things was my thinking, how can I take this terrible thing that has just happened to you? And then how can I sell you Jesus? How can I take this terrible thing that's just happened to you and convince you that part of the reason why this terrible thing has happened to you is because of the disobedience that we as God's children are displaying in the world, and how God is repaying us back because of said disobedience. But I would have to figure out, how could I say that to you while still trying to convince you that I had empathy for the thing that just happened to you? And that nothing is more true than what is happening on this app. And we see happen at the end of every tragic event that happens in people's lives. The minute something terrible happens, here comes the God warriors, the Jesus warriors, to remind the people that the reason why God has burned down their homes, flooded their lands, killed their children, done anything that's deemed a natural disaster, here comes the Christians telling you that everybody's being punished because God hates sin. And the sinners is the reason why we're all being punished. Religion makes it incapable for a lot of you to actually have real empathy. It makes it incapable for a lot of you to have real empathy, because you inherently believe whatever punishment that people get is because God, they're deserving of said punishment. And so you use language that comes across as empathetic, but your belief system, deep down, what you believe is people are being punished, and they are rightfully being punished. And the reason why I've been saying also for the better part of 2 years that you cannot extrapolate Christianity from white supremacy, because Christianity is in fact white supremacy. It's a white supremacist religion, because just like white supremacy or white delusion, right? Just like the tenets of that, it is this inherent belief that everything white is better. White is superior to everything and everybody else. That black people and brown people can have their place. Yes, the black and brown people can be good at some things, but inherently, intrinsically, to be white is to be better. To be white is to be closer to God. To be white is to be favored by God. And, based on how God has shown up in the world, I think the white folks may be right here. I think God either is white, or he really, 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 really like the whites better than the rest. And Christianity follows that same model, right? Nobody can get to heaven but through. Nobody will see God but through. Nobody will know of peace and prosperity but through. If you meet a Christian, a true believer of the Christian Bible as taught by the whites, because I'm never going to let y'all forget that the whites taught you it, right? You can run in here and tell me about the Ethiopian Bible and Christianity originated in Africa. The Africans didn't teach it to you. The whites did. The Africans didn't teach it to you. The whites did. So you can run in here and say how kind and empathetic you are. It robs you of it. The religion robs you of empathy. The religion robs you of genuine empathy. I've never been so sad coming on this app and watching people say, oh, remember when Prophet so-and-so said this was going to happen in California? There's a lot of videos talking about this brother from Atlanta that apparently got on a plane and went to California, warned all the Californians that a flood was coming. And the amount of people I see pretzeling themselves to make his prophecy right. He said flood. What happened was fire. And I actually heard a woman say, well, you can't, people are looking at the literal word. He said flood. But either your God is speaking plain or he's not. Why does your God have to speak in riddles? If God told him it was flood and what showed up is fire, was that God speaking to him? This religion robs y'all of empathy. There were so many gleeful posts about this guy's prophecy that obviously was not a prophecy, because he said flood and what happened in California is fire. But the amount of posts that I saw from people, especially people who look like me, gleeful at the punishment of people, that they believe that their God is punished for sin, while people are standing and looking at everything they've ever owned burned to the ground. And y'all couldn't even pretend to muster empathy. What you demonstrated was glee.